Hello everyone. Today we will go over the muscles of the trunk in both the human model and the cat. We will first begin with the intercostal muscles in the human model. The internal intercostal muscle is a muscle that depresses the ribs. We could see in this model right here, it would be this muscle. The internal intercostal muscle. This muscle depresses the ribs, which means that it runs downward or backward. And it is also located behind the external intercostal muscle, which would be this one right here. So the internal intercostal would be right behind that one. The muscle is also involved in force exhalation, which means that the muscle pulls the ribs down and posteriorly in order to push the air out from the lungs. We could see here that this muscle originates in the inferior border of the rib. So right about here. It also has an insertion at the superior border of the rib below. Right here. So now anteriorly to this muscle would be the external intercostal muscle. It is right here. This muscle right here. This muscle right here is also involved in inhalation. The muscle elevates or lifts up the ribs as the chest cavity expands when it allows air into the lungs. We could see that it ends right about here where the membrane is, right before the cartilage of the rib start. Also, a little tip that I know in trying to differentiate between both the muscles, the internal and external intercostals, would be to remember that the letters in internal costal means that it assists in pulling in the ribs. Also, the E in external intercostal allows the ribs to expand during exhalation. So in for internal and E for external. Next would be the rectus abdominis muscle. And the rectus abdominis muscle is right around here. We have a right and a left. This muscle originates in the pubic symphysis of the pubis, and its insertion would be the costal cartilages. So it would be right around here. This is the pubis, and you could see that it originates right about there. This muscle also goes all the way up to here where the costal cartilage is. This muscle helps to flex the trunk of the body and also compress the abdomen. So it would be right here. This muscle is also separated vertically by the linea alba and horizontally by the tendinous insertions. So this is the linea alba. You could see that it separates the right and the left rectus abdominis muscles. For the tendinous intersections would be those that run across the linea alba. One way that I remember how this muscle looks like and its location would be by the linea alba. The word linea means line in Spanish, like linea. It is also like a straight line that runs up and down. So linea alba is the tendon that runs up and down on the abdomen or the rectus abdominis. You can see it right here. It runs from the pubic symphysis all the way up to the costal cartilages, right on the top, right on the sternum as well. Next, the innermost muscle of the torso is known as the transverse abdominis, and that muscle is, let me see, so this is the transverse abdominis. This muscle originates below the ribs on the lumbar vertebra. The muscle also wraps like around the side of the torso, right here, and it also inserts on the linea alba and also the inguinal ligament, which is right around here. In isolating this muscle, you could see where it originates, which would be the lumbar vertebrae around here, and it wraps all around to the anterior side next to the linea alba. And then also one way that I remember the action of this muscle is to think of the word transverse and tighten. So these fibers you could see right here in the muscle, they run transversely or horizontally, sort of like a belt or a corset. Both a belt and a corset compress the abdomen by tightening the abdominal wall. So that's essentially what this muscle does. This would be a lateral view of the muscle. Also the posterior, which you can see the origin. And then there would be two of them. This would be the right transverse abdominis muscle, and then that would be the left transverse abdominis muscle. You can see the posterior side of both, here and here. The next muscle that we will go over would be the internal oblique, and that would be this muscle right here. This muscle's origin is going to be the iliac crest of the ilium, which you could see right here. Right here, the ilium. The muscle wraps around the side of the abdomen to the linea alba and the inguinal ligament, which you could see right here. Okay, so it wraps around on the side. The linea alba and the inguinal ligament would also be known as its insertion. The action of this muscle is to also help flex the trunk of the body and compress the abdomen. So running anteriorly or wrapped around this muscle, the internal abdominal oblique, would be the external oblique, which is right here. This is the external oblique muscle. Obviously there's two, the right and the left side. This is the back of both. This muscle is literally attached and originates in the lower ribs right here. You can see its attachment or origin on the lower ribs. You see how it attaches, and then it also wraps around the torso all the way to the linea alba, which would be right here. And then also the inguinal ligament, which would be right below around here. So just like the internal oblique, its action is also to flex the trunk and compress the abdomen. So you can see right here, it's meeting next to the rectus abdominis and the linea alba. It's easy to distinguish between both of the muscles because their only difference would be the origin between the internal oblique and the external oblique. The way that I remember to distinguish both would be by the letters in and internal, which means that this muscle is located more in or deep, so that it would originate kind of like under the ribs. It wouldn't really touch the ribs. And the external oblique right here is more on the outside, so it would cover more of the torso than the internal oblique would, and then essentially it would have to touch the ribs since it's more on the outside. Also running along the posterior side of the vertebrae would be the erector spinae muscles. Those muscles look like this. These muscles it's more like a group of 3 muscles. First would be the iliocostalis muscle. Then it would be the longissimus muscle right here. And then it would be the spinalis muscle, which would be right here. So this one, and this one. These muscles work together to also extend the trunk of the body. I remember their action by the word erector. So these muscles erect the spine to maintain a straight and upright posture, just like this model has right here. Their action is just opposite to the action of the anterior muscles right here, which is to flex instead of extending the trunk straight. Okay. So now these are the same muscles but in the cat model. You can see here, this is the rectus abdominis of the cat. So it would be right here. Okay, so you could see there's gonna be the left side and the right side highlighted on the green below. Also, for this muscle in the cat, it has the same origin, the same insertion, and the same action as a human model, which would be to like origin would be the pubic symphysis, costal cartilages for the insertion, and also it works to flex the trunk. The next part of the rectus abdominis would be the linea alba, highlighted in the green. It's gonna be the line that separates the right side of the rectus abdominis and the left side. On the cat, also same. It looks the same as a human model. The external oblique of the cat would be located right here on the green side, on the green highlighted. For this muscle, it's the same origin, insertion, and action. It works together with the internal oblique right here to flex the trunk and compress the abdomen. You could see the internal is right below the external oblique right here. The external oblique kind of covers it as well. And then the innermost muscle of the trunk would be the transverse abdominis. Just like the human model in the cat, you could see that it runs horizontally or transversely on the abdomen. You could see the separation between the external oblique and the internal, and it would be right below it. Yeah, I hope you like it. Thank you.